the topic of the next Bond. It's a perennial topic. Some say Idris Elba. Some say Tom Hardy. A new fan campaign is pushing for Gillian Anderson. Stephen, I'll start with you. We're seeing.
I have a controversial theory about this.
Okay. Let me throw this out to you here because the new Star Wars has had both black and female leads.
Yes.
The new Ghostbusters went with an all-female cast.
Yes.
Should Bond do the same?
Okay, look. Okay, this is my theory. You can start the angry tweeting already.
It's already started.
It's already started. I think the Bond represents a certain kind of Britishness, a certain kind of white privileged Britishness that is not just privileged, it's aristocratic. It's the kind of person who knows the difference. I mean, he literally spots a villain because the villain doesn't know the difference between Bordeaux and Claret. Right? Sorry, Burgundy and Claret. Pardon me, I revealed my poor education there.
You could never be Bond.
Yeah, I could never be Bond. You could never have an American Bond. You could never have a French Bond. They should give Idris Elba. See, Idris Elba does fit the bill in that he is the best looking man in a suit in the world, right? Like when he wears a suit, he's the best looking man in the world. So that's traditionally what Bond has been, right? But they should just give Idris Elba a spy show. Just give him a spy franchise, like give him like a Bourne franchise. Bond should just go. And the idea that Bond could be female, I'm sorry, that would change the character completely. It would change because the myth of Bond is of somebody who just waltzes into easy sexuality and everything comes easily to him. And I don't think it works unless it's that kind of person.
Again, Charles is nodding furiously.
They should just end Bond.
Let's get your take on. Should Bond go the way of Star Wars and Ghostbusters and update? And also, what's behind this desire to see Bond updated?
Right. I'm going to start from there. I think the desire comes, even with the question of casting Idris Elba or going different cultural diversity with it. I don't think it came from like the producers sitting there thinking, you know what, we should diversify Bond, or it didn't come from a group of women who are like, you know what, we'd love to see. I mean, initially, I think there are performers and people out there within the industry that are like, why aren't there roles like that for me? Why don't I get to be this kind of hero and have this sort of backstory and come from this sort of place and do all these amazing things? That's where it comes from. I don't think it was like this real social political like maneuver. I think it was still coming from like, why don't roles like where are they?
So you kind of agree that Idris Elba should have his own vehicle?
I really think so, and I'll tie that back into casting a woman in that. I think with why not present a real true backstory of a woman instead of attaching it to this thing. I mean, and actually expand the franchise that way, rather than try to drop someone into the role of James or Jamie Bond. Like, ridiculous. Like, let this person exist and let it die out, and maybe you can reinvigorate the franchise by actually creating a new agent.
Rachel, let's get your take.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting because the whole sort of journey of Daniel Craig's Bond was, his regretful choice that he decided to play Bond. Because Daniel Craig, like after the first one, he was kind of miserable in the role and went in the press and said it. And, there were so many conversations in the last few Bonds with Craig where he was told he was a dinosaur, people like him don't exist anymore, he was a man out of step in time. So the franchise itself has actually been making an argument for its own irrelevance and for James Bond's irrelevance. So I disagree with these guys. I think that maybe you do just say, screw it, let's just go completely off book and build on the Bond franchise and stick someone like Idris Elba or, Naomi Harris, who's played Moneypenny. Like maybe she just gets a promotion and she's the next Bond or whatever.
And you call it 007. Rather than Bond, right?
Yeah, or something. Yeah. Or else.
Well, that's what I agree with something like that. Yes.
And I'm going to steal an idea. I was talking to Tyrone, the producer, yesterday about this, and he had this great suggestion, which I'm stealing from him, which is maybe you go back to the 60s, to the beginning of Bond, and reboot. Do like an origin story, like start out with a young actor, and because if you want to have all the easy sexism of Bond, maybe you have to set it back in the era of easy sexism.
That's a great idea.
Like the Batman. So you go Mad Men about it,
like there's no way to go forward with the British imperialism and the sexism and all that.
The empire is over.
I mean, Bond represented the end of the empire anyway, right? Like he was compensation.
Right.
It's like he arrived just right after the Suez Crisis, where it's like the English Secret Service does not matter anymore.
Right.
Therefore, we have this super spy Bond figure who everything comes easily to,
Yeah.
right? And the world has just changed. Like the world has just moved on.
Yeah.
So why would you? I don't know. Like they should.
And the missions could improve, like the
Yeah,
stories of
that's
the
true,
missions,
too.
like the actual missions that Bond is going on in this current time could be a little more imaginative.
Yeah, there we go.
I was going to end with a lightning round on who should be the next Bond, but it seems like it's unanimous. Just end the thing.
Yeah.